Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is Althea May Baumata, registered nurse and a staff nurse at Cebu Provincial Hospital, Bogo City. I'm taking up Master of Public Administration because I want to gain the management skills needed to improve public services. The topic that I've chosen is Module 5. Its focus is integrate philosophical reasoning and ethical frameworks into strategic public administration practices. Topics to be discussed are applied ethics in governance and institutional codes and ethical benchmarks. So now let's proceed to the discussion proper. Let us define applied ethics in governance. Applied ethics in governance refers to the practical use of ethical principles to guide decisions, policies, actions, and conduct within government institutions, public organizations, and other governing bodies. Applied ethics in governance focuses on how leaders and officials should act when faced with real-world dilemmas involving public interest, power, resources, and accountability. There are core ethical principles in governance. First is integrity. Acting honestly and consistently with moral values. This is avoiding corruption, fraud, and abuse of power. Example, public officials disclose conflicts of interest before participating in procurement decisions. Next is accountability, being answerable for decisions and actions. This is accepting responsibility for outcomes and mistakes. Example, government agencies publicly report spending and performance results. Next core ethical principles in governance is transparency, making information accessible and understandable. In transparency, we enable public scrutiny of decisions. Example, publishing budgets, contracts, and policy rationales. Next is justice and fairness, treating individuals and groups equitably, um, ensuring impartial application of laws and policies. Example, providing equal access to public services regardless of socio-economic status. Next is respect for human rights, protecting dignity, freedoms, and fundamental rights, avoiding discrimination and exclusion. Example, designing policies that accommodate persons with disabilities and minority groups. Lastly, public interest, prioritizing social welfare over personal, political, or organizational gain. Example, allocating resources based on community needs rather than political favoritism. So next topic is ethical frameworks used in governance. Ethical frameworks used in governance provide principles for making public decisions that are fair, transparent, accountable, and in the public interest. Some of the most widely used frameworks include: first is duty-based ethics or deontology. This is associated with Immanuel Kant, which focuses on duties, rules, and obligations. Mm. Duty-based ethics emphasizes following moral rules, laws, and duties regardless of the consequences. Public officials are expected to uphold constitutional principles, laws, and human rights. Example, ensuring equal treatment under the law even when exceptions might seem beneficial. So next framework is consequentialism or utilitarianism. Utilitarianism is associated with Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. It evaluates actions based on outcomes. Consequentialism focuses on achieving greatest good for the greatest number of people. Decisions are evaluated based on their outcomes and overall societal benefit. Example, allocating government resources to programs that benefit the largest portion of the population. Next is virtue of ethics. This is associated with Aristotle. It emphasizes character and moral virtues. Virtue of ethics focuses on the moral character of leaders rather than specific actions or outcomes. It encourages virtues such as honesty, integrity, courage, fairness, and compassion. Example, a public servant refusing bribes because of integrity. Next is ethics of care. It focuses on relationships, empathy, and responsiveness to vulnerable groups. Hmm. Ethics of care highlights empathy, relationships, and responsibility toward others. It often applied in social welfare, healthcare, and community development. Example, creating policies that support children, older adults, and persons with disabilities. There are common ethical issues in governance. First is corruption. Corruption includes bribery, embezzlement, favoritism, and nepotism. Corruption, accepting bribes, embezzling public funds, or abusing authority for personal gain. So next, common ethical issues in governance is conflicts of interest. Personal interest influencing official decisions. Making decisions that benefit oneself, family members, or close associates instead of serving the public interest. Next is misuse of public resources, using of government funds, property, or authority for private benefit. Using government funds, vehicles, equipment, or staff for personal purposes. Next is lack of transparency, concealing information from the public, hiding information, making secret decisions, or failing to disclose how public resources are used. So next is discrimination and exclusion, unequal treatment of individuals or communities, treating individuals or groups unfairly based on characteristics such as race, gender, religion, or political affiliation. Lastly, abuse of power, using authority beyond legal or ethical limits, misusing official authority to intimidate, discriminate against, or unfairly influence others. There are tools for ethical governance. First is codes of ethics and conducts. Um, Tools for ethical governance are mechanisms, policies, and practices that help ensure public officials and institutions act with integrity, accountability, transparency, and fairness. So first, tools for ethical governance is codes of ethics and conduct. Codes of ethics and conduct are formal guidelines that define acceptable behavior and professional standards. It establishes ethical expectations, guide decision making, and prevent misconduct. Example is Judicial Ethics Code. Next is conflict of interest policies. Conflict of interest policies are rules requiring officials to disclose and manage personal, financial, or political interests that could influence their duties. It prevents favoritism and corruption, promote impartial decision making. Next is ethics training programs. Ethics training program are regular education programs that strengthen ethical awareness and skills. It promotes ethical culture, improve judgment in complex situations. Next is whistleblower protection systems. Whistleblower protection systems channels that allow individuals to report wrongdoing, safety, and confidentially. It encourages reporting of misconduct, protect reporters from retaliation, and strengthen institutional integrity. Next is accountability mechanisms. Accountability mechanisms are structures that ensures officials are answerable for their actions. It detects misconduct, improve institutional performance. Example is performance audit. Next is internal and external audits. Internal and external audits are systematic examinations of financial, operational, and administrative activities. It verify compliance, detect fraud and inefficiency, promote responsible resource use. Next is committees and review boards. Ethics committees and review boards are independent groups that evaluate ethical concerns and provide guidance. It reviews sensitive decisions, investigate ethical violations, and recommend corrective actions. In governance, ethics is not only about complying with laws, it is about ensuring that power is exercised responsibly, fairly, and in service of the public good. Next is importance of applied ethics in governance. Applied ethics helps build public trust, strengthen legitimacy of institution, reduce corruption and misconduct, improve policy quality, protect human rights, and promote equitable and sustainable development. So now let us discuss institutional codes and ethical benchmarks. Let's define institutional codes and ethical benchmarks. Institutional codes are formal standards of conduct that guide the behavior and decision making of members of organization, while ethical benchmarks are measurable principles of or criteria used to assess whether actions, policies, and outcomes meet accepted ethical standards. So, together, they promote integrity and accountability and public trust in governance and organizations. Um, Institutional codes, what they are. Institutional codes are written documents that define expected behaviors, professional responsibilities, ethical obligations, and procedures for handling ethical issues. There are common components of institutional codes. First is integrity. Integrity, honesty in all official actions, avoidance of fraud and corruption. Next is accountability. Accountability or responsibility for decisions and outcomes. Compliance with laws and regulations. Next is impartiality. This is fair and unbiased treatment of all stakeholders. Avoidance of favoritism and discrimination. Example, codes of conduct for civil servants and judicial codes of ethics. Next is transparency. openness in decision-making, and resource management. Next is confidentiality, protection of sensitive information. And lastly, conflict of interest management, disclosure and avoidance of personal interest that may affect official duties. So next is ethical benchmarks. Um, what they are. Ethical benchmarks are standards used to evaluate whether decisions and actions align with ethical principles. There are key ethical benchmarks. First is integrity. Indicators, honesty in communication, compliance with ethical standards, and avoidance of corruption and deception. To evaluate, we ask, is the action honest, truthful, and consistent with stated values? Next is accountability. Its indicators are clear responsibilities, reporting mechanisms, and oversight and review processes. To evaluate, we ask, can decision makers explain and justify their outcomes? So next is transparency. Its indicators are public access to information, open decision-making processes, disclosure of reasons for decisions. In transparency, to evaluate, we ask, is relevant information openly available and understandable? So next is fairness and equity. Its indicators are equal opportunities, non-discrimination, consistent application of rules. To evaluate fairness and equity, we ask, are people treated impartially and justly? Next is respect for human rights and dignity. Its indicators are protection of freedoms, inclusion of vulnerable groups, respectful treatment of stakeholders. So, to evaluate, we ask, does the action protect fundamental rights and human dignity? So, next is public interest. Its indicators are risk assessment, environmental and social consideration, and ethical foresight. So, to evaluate public interest, we ask, does the decision serve the common good rather than private interests? So, lastly is sustainability. Its indicators are environmental stewardship, intergenerational equity, and resource conservation. So, to evaluate sustainability, we ask, are long-term impacts taken into account? So, ethical benchmarks help individuals and institutions evaluate whether their actions align with accepted ethical principles and contribute to responsible and trustworthy governance. So, in summary, institutional codes define how people within an institution should behave, while ethical benchmarks provide criteria for judging whether decisions and actions are ethically acceptable. Together, they form a foundation for responsible, transparent, and accountable governance. So, their importance in governance. Ethical benchmarks help guide ethical decision making, prevent corruption and abuse of power, strengthen public trust, improve accountability, promote fairness and inclusion, and support sustainable and responsible governance. That's all. Thank you.